Bigfoot are real, only considered a myth by those who are too scared to engage in the history and mystery that these cryptid creatures have left in many cultures around the world. Only one team has the grit, the knowledge and the fortitude to go after these savage beasts. As one cohesive unit, NCI, North Carolina investigates.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we this evening? Tonight we've got a very special guest. We've got a very special friend of ours, Mr. Darrell Denton, who's an extreme, wonderful, and very knowledgeable cryptozoologist. And we're going to bring the tribe in here all at once, like we did last week. And we're going to let Darrell tell anything in the world that he wants to talk about. And we're going to sit here and have a ball like we always do. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Stud Muffin Tim Deals. Next up, we got the Boom Boom from Michigan. We got the one and only Survivor Man from Kaiser, North Carolina. We've also got the George Lunsford. You can find his books on Amazon.com. And we got the one and only from East Tennessee, the blue tick of the NCI team, Mr. Harley Owens. And then, without further ado, we got the awesome Darrell Denton. Come on in here, brother.
Thank you, brothers. Appreciate you having me. Honored to be here.
We're tickled to death that you decided to come join us today, Darrell. We are. We hadn't seen you in a pretty good while, and we miss you, buddy.
Well, I miss you guys. I miss being in the woods as much. I haven't had a chance to be in the woods like I have been for so many years. Last year, my team was pretty banged up. Martin Groves was sick all year, and Ron moved out of state, and another friend was going a different direction. So it was kind of a lackluster year, probably the slowest year I've had. I did quite a bit of researching up here with a couple of guys in the area that I've been staying in up here some, but that's all fixing to change. We're about to get started like we used to again. We got a big expedition coming up in the next month or two that's pretty crazy. I've never been to this spot, but the pictures I've seen are pretty pretty alarming. I've seen pictures of creatures I've never seen before, and it's don't really know what to expect, but looking forward to that. And got a few other events. Martin Groves and I will be speaking with our buddy Steve Causey in Kentucky on the 7th at a distillery there, and the 7th of February. And that's about what I got coming up real quick. What about you guys?
What kind of wild adventures you've been on here lately, Darrell?
Well, like I said, last year was a little quiet. I was just telling you guys a little bit about my friend up here, Swamp Dog, that's up here in South Jersey. And I stay up in South Jersey part of the month, and I stay in Tennessee the other part. And it's pretty crazy up here. It's pretty remote. I was quite surprised when I got in this area. It's in the country. It's not a concrete jungle at all like you would think it would be when you hear the word Jersey. But my friend Swamp Dog's been through some crazy stuff in an area that he invited me into. He had seen a large creature. He fishes in this area. There's only about 7, 8 houses out in this way out in the middle of nowhere on this part of the peninsula of the Atlantic, and he goes out there and fishes at night. And he was on his way out there, and he turned the curve, and there's this massive creature standing in the middle of the road next to a cemetery. And he said it looked like the size of a grizzly bear on 2 feet, but it had a head of a dog. And that pretty frightening. It scared him bad enough that he turned around and went back, and he didn't want to go back out there. And he contacted me, and through some friends, he found out I was up here, and I went out there and did a little investigating with him and found a lot of interesting stuff around that area where this creature had been frequently going through an area. And we were planning on going out there for a 3-night adventure, 2 or 3 night adventure, and staying the night and in that area to try to get footage of this film footage of this creature. And in the meantime, I was in Tennessee, and I said the next weekend when I get back, we'll go, and that was our plan. Well, him and his wife got a little bored, so they decided to drive out there while I was in Tennessee and parked out. This is a pretty remote area. There's not anybody out there hardly. In the summertime, there'll be more people because those little vacation houses that's what they are. And he went out there with his wife and parked on the gravel road off to where he'd seen this creature. We could still see the same spot that he was traveling. And 2 or 3 hours went by and he didn't get to see anything. And his wife had to get out of the truck on the passenger side and use the restroom back toward the rear of the truck. And he's sitting there in the truck waiting on her, and all of a sudden she starts screaming, and he jumps out of the truck on the driver's side and runs to the back of the truck, and there's a dog man dragging her down the road on this gravel road they're sitting on. This dog-headed creature had her by her arm, dragging her, and he pulled out I think he's got a 45, and he shot 3 times, hit it twice, and didn't seem to affect it at all. It just kept dragging her, and the 3rd time he shot it right below the back of the neck, and it screamed, let out a scream, let go of her, and ran off into the woods. And of course, he ran over and got her and helped her get back to the truck, and he thought her arm was broke. And of course, you can imagine how hysterical this lady would be, something like that happening. And she still has, fortunately, her arm wasn't broken. It was badly bruised and twisted. And she's got PTSD now. She don't even go on her back porch at night. She's just terrified.
Well, that's kind of understandable.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Yeah, you don't hear stuff like that very often. So, but I've been out in that area with him, and I'm going to go back out there again probably this week at that location where this happened and see if we see anything new. But that's pretty much it as far as the latest thing that's happened, and that was toward the end of October. So I think it was October, I believe. It's been a while, but and I've been doing a little thing in the woods in Tennessee a little bit. I went to a spot there, and I was there a couple weeks ago for a couple hours, and Martin Groves and I got together and discussed some plans we got coming up, and that'll be happening here several times this year. We got 3 or 4 adventures we're planning on going on. Of course, our biggest thing is the one that Ethan Oates and the producer and that company has on a production they're going to do on a documentary of Martin Groves, myself, Ron Moorhead, and Mike Smith. Mike's done some stuff with us in the LBL over the years, and real knowledgeable guy, great guy. And,
yeah, Mike's a good guy.
Yeah, real good guy.
Absolutely.
And of course, I've known Mike pretty good while. He was in the documentary with Martin and I on the dog man that we encountered in the LBL in 2023. But we're looking forward to that. I don't know where we're going. It's an unexpected. We don't know the location. We just know what we've seen. We've seen pictures that we've been given, and there's structures in there like something I've never seen, and there's creatures in there like I've never seen. I don't know what some of these creatures are, but we'll be going in on horseback, and it's a pretty good ride from where we got to go, and hopefully get in and get film and the structure and the creatures and safely get out without being attacked. So that's our goal. We're going to go in peaceful, and hopefully that this all occur like we want it to. So
we'll definitely say a prayer for you to keep you safe. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know the exact date on it yet. We were thinking the middle of February, and now that's been moved up a little bit because the producer had not finished some project he was working on. So maybe more like March. But anyway, it's going to be pretty interesting. You know, it's a little unnerving for me. I've never seen so many creatures that I've been getting pictures of. There's like 50 something creatures in this one spot, and it's it looks like Dogman, it looks like Bigfoot, it looks like Alien, it looks like a lot of different things, some stuff I've never seen before, and you know, I don't know. It's pretty remarkable. Between Ron and Martin and myself, you know, and Mike, you know, we're like, wow, we never
Well,
seen
if you need some
anything like
backup,
that.
you know, you got people here you can call on if you need some backup.
We have got 2 or 3 guys going with us that have been they have been hired by our team by Ethan and his production company to help patrol and help us stay safe. So, you know, if these you don't know what to expect. You go into an area, and if these pictures are real and true, you go into an area where there's that many creatures, you don't know where they're going to come out and greet you or attack you. So
That's true.
you know, I've never been in anything like that. You know, it's a little different going into an area that's got a family of Bigfoot living, or forest people, or even a dog man. But when you got a whole village of different creatures and structures, you know, it's pretty it's a little unnerving, to be honest with you.
You got a whole
I wonder
whole
why.
situation will develop there if you ain't careful.
It could get out of hand real quick. Yeah, it could. Yeah, really could.
I wonder
hope
why
not,
that area is so special.
You know, I really don't know. Like I said, I've never been to this area, and it's you know, there's a lot of areas across the U.S., United States, I'm talking about, that have special areas that have weird stuff in them, and I know y'all know that by being investigators like you are. But you'll run into areas that, for some reason, generally it comes out to be some type of Indian mounds in the area, some type of portal, something that causes those creatures to be in those areas for one way or another. You know, most of the sightings of Dogman and Bigfoot, the general portion, there's more sightings around graveyards than there are anywhere.
That's true.
So, you know, why would a Dogman stay around a graveyard all the time? So, I mean, you know, it's to me, it's hard to figure out, and I don't know all the answers. I wish I did, but you know, some of these creatures I've never seen pictures. I've never seen a creature like the picture I've seen. So it's definitely it would be a cautious thing, but at the same time, you know, we're going in like we always are. We're not looking to harm anything, and we're not going to open up fire on anything either. We're trying to be you know, as respectful to them as we hope they will be to us. We just want to ask them to allow us to film them in their area, and then we'll be out of their way. So that's pretty much, that's our plan anyway. So we'll see how that works. I hope it works that way. But
I know after that Dogman story about that woman got grabbed, that makes me want to load my hollow points up with silver nitrate or mercury.
You know,
so
you
when I shoot it, it feels it.
You really probably ought to have Swamp Dog on here and talk to him. He's a great guest. He's been on the podcast or two since then, since he and I have become friends, and he's had quite a few encounters with Bigfoot, but never anything like what happened to him with this Dogman. But he's a deer hunter. That's how it all started for him, and he run into some Bigfoot in the area he was hunting in. But they've all been friendly with him. They haven't tried to harm him. And this Dogman thing's a whole different story. So
Dogman's a whole different story anyway.
You know, I've seen 4 of them personally. The entire creature, I've probably seen more than that in brush and trees all in there. You couldn't see the whole body of it, but you knew what it was. And I've never had any of them attack me. And, you know, I know there's good and bad in all creatures, especially human. So, you know, it also has a lot to do with the respectable ability you have toward them. So,
no, that's true.
You know, I've never had a Dogman try to attack me. And the one Martin Grosen I'd seen in 2023 was like nothing I'd ever seen. And that one was 5 to 7 foot from my window, and it was down. All he had to do was jump in the truck, and he didn't. So I was thinking he was going to because he was in that stance like a cat was going to pounce on something, but he went around the truck and went on. So the first one I seen was in Tazewell County, Virginia in 2021, and it looked like a massive black German Shepherd about 6 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And when it ran across the field, I staked that creature out for over 3 weeks. Right at 3 weeks, not over 3. It would have been over 3 weeks the next day. And didn't see it. I was about to give up on it until I seen it come out of the corner of a field overlooking a ridge where I was waiting on it. I could overlook the field. The farmer had told me to stay there where I could see the area. And it had killed all of its goats. And that thing, when it come out across the field, it didn't run like a dog. It galloped like a horse. And it was really a strange gallop the way it did. And when it got to the edge of the fence in front of me, it stood up, just put 1 foot over the fence and walked into the hardwoods. So that was my first full, real sighting of a dogman. I'm sure I've seen some other ones, parts of them in brush and foliage, but not a whole body creature like that one. So
That almost sounds like he was strutting around till he seen you. Then he realized
he never seen me.
Oh, he didn't?
Never seen me. I was up on a ridge overlooking him, watching him with binoculars from the corner till when he got close to me. You know, he might have been 100 feet from me at the very corner of the fence line, but he never seen me. He looked in my direction, but he didn't see me. So,
Wow.
but that's like I said, the ones I've seen, none of them tried to attack me. And there again, my best friend Martin Groves, you go back to 1993 in Land Between the Lakes. He and his partner, they tried to kill them. 2 dog man type creatures did, and then 2 Bigfoot tried to stop them from leaving. So they had the Bigfoot grabbed hold of the truck when they were leaving and tried to pull the fender off of it. And I still today believe they could have possibly been Gugway, maybe not Bigfoot, but who knows? At one time, I never thought Bigfoot and Dogman ran together, but I hear more and more people say now that they do. So
that's what we're finding too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, that wasn't me. But what exactly is a Gugway?
A Gugway is a creature that looks like a Bigfoot. It's got feet like a Bigfoot, hands like a Bigfoot, but it has a head with a snout on it. It has a double row of teeth with big teeth and pointed ears, and much different than the Dogman, but more of a Dogman looking face with a short snout. And they're very vicious. Gugway in the Native American language, my language from my ancestors, Gugway means face eater. So they're pretty vicious type creatures. Most of them they roam alone. What people I know that have seen them, and there are some of those in the Land Between the Lakes over on the east side of the Tennessee River that I've been told people have seen. I've never seen one personally. I just been told what they look like and what they seem to be. They seem to be very aggressive. They're not friendly at all. And I'm not sure that he didn't.
Okay.
That's not what he did. That's not what Martin and Harry seen that night when they were trying to escape from that area. I know when they were driving away in the truck, looking back at their camp with the fire going, they could see these creatures just destroying their camp, tearing their tent down, and then you had 2 big Bigfoot creatures with Harry trying to drive the truck through the field to get across the dry creek bed to the main road. These 2 creatures were trying to stop them from getting away, and they were either Bigfoot or Gugway.
I don't think I want to run into those things. They're ugly.
They are pretty ugly. Yeah, I've seen some drawings of them, of actual witness drawings, people who have witnessed them and had them drawn. Like I said, I've never seen one. Quite frankly, don't care that I ever see one.
No blame you on that.
my very first creature that I ever seen that got me started in this in 1992 was what my granddad called a wood booger. And that was the meanest, ugliest, nastiest looking thing I've ever seen to this day. So I don't care to run in any more of those either, and I haven't since then. But they're mainly in the South, I understand. Tennessee, Arkansas, and that area mainly. But so I've been told. I've never seen another one. But anyway, there's all kinds of creatures in the woods that the normal public would have a real hard time. They'd be shaking their head, thinking we're all crazy. But it's they're out there. I don't know what all's out there. It seems to me like I hear about something new on a regular basis. So I seen my first crawler in March of 2024 with Martin Groves and Barton Unley and the LBL. Ron Moorhead was with us, but he wasn't in the vehicle with us at that particular time. And that was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. It was real skinny, thin, kind of a pale whitish gray, and this thing ran up a tree just like a squirrel. It was amazing. And
wow.
I walked around and I had a real bright light, flashlight. We all did, and Martin and Barton were on the trail up behind me, and I'd seen it first, and then Martin seen it go up the tree, and he said, "Get away from that thing." He was hollering at me, "Get away from that thing!" And I was fairly close to the tree, and I was trying to get a good picture of this thing. It climbed to the top of the tree, and every time I just shine the light on it, it would go around the tree again where you couldn't see it. And started clicking, making this clicking noise, the strangest noise. It was like a click, 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 and then it would stop. Then something on the hill up behind me was clicking back at it, communicating with it. And we listened to that for a good 15 or 20 minutes, and we all got a little unnerved because we thought they were trying to surround us, and we left. But that was the strangest thing. That was a really strange creature. I've heard of them, but I'd never seen one. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of those or not.
I got a picture of one, but didn't see it when I was there. It actually showed up on the picture after we went home and started looking over our stuff.
I've heard of people, especially I got some good friends that are in Illinois that have quite a few of them in their area.
Those things creep me out.
Yeah, it's that's the question. When people ask me all the time, what do you think a Bigfoot is, or where they come from, or what do you think a dogman is, or where do they come from? My question is, what is a crawler? Where did it come from? So, I don't know what these things, what purpose do they have? So there's the strangest looking thing that I've ever seen. So it's hard to believe that they're even alive. The condition they look to be in. So. I don't know what they feed on, and maybe people. Who knows? But I wouldn't want to be around one by myself. I know
that. Me either. I think they're bloodsuckers.
They could be. You don't never hear about anybody shooting one of them or having I don't know if I ever remember hearing anybody having any altercation with one. I've heard of maybe being chased or something like that, but you never hear of anybody. In a fight with one of them or a scuff of some type, you don't hear of that. So I don't know what they are and what they have the intentions of, but there's just so many things out there. Your poor mom and pop that take the kids camping in the woods that don't know anything about what we're talking about. That's the ones I worry about because they don't know where they're going. They have no clue. What the area has had around it or what the history is around the area they're in. And, it's pretty sad that the national parks and even the forestry areas like Land Between the Lakes is run by the National Forestry Service. It's not the national parks, but, with the counts of these creatures in all these national parks and things, it's a little sad that they don't put some type of bulletin out there to watch out for creatures that we're not aware of that exist or something, just to let people know that there's a possibility that something could be out there that'll harm you.
I agree with that.
But I'm 100% believer the reason why they'll never ever admit that Bigfoot exists because the national park industry is a $2.8 billion, that's with a B, $1 billion industry a year. With tourists coming in all these parks, hiking and passes to go into different areas. You're 2.8 billion. You start telling people there might be a 8-foot hairy creature running around out in the woods, or a dog man that might bite you or eat you, and or maybe a crawler occasionally, and you're going to kind of reduce the revenue in those areas. So
That's
that's
true.
my reason that you're not ever going to hear the government admit these creatures exist. So they definitely know they exist. I don't know about crawlers. I know they know that. I know they know Dogman and Bigfoot exist. So
yeah. Hey,
Bigfoot especially.
Cheryl, I think his name is Cheryl, has a question about how big are the crawlers?
You know, it really wasn't that big. I don't know how to judge the exact. I'm guessing this thing was probably about 5 foot long. It was super, super skinny, almost like bones. Mm-hmm. And it was a whitish gray color. It had a humanoid head, no hair on it at all. It was just a weird looking creature. And the eyes were real weird looking. They weren't red or nothing like that. They're more like a grayish silver. Mm-hmm. And it was just strange looking. So I'm guessing probably about 5 foot from the end of the hands to the back of the feet, and probably weighed 60 pounds. It was just
I'll agree with that.
Skinny, so skinny and frail looking. That's what I was saying. I find it hard to believe these things even are alive. They look like someone that's a starving type creature to me. But the clicking sound was the weird part that really got me, because there was a couple more of them behind me on the hillside clicking back. They were answering this thing back. And the way of the communication. And, after I heard that night, Martin and I talked to Barton, and we had heard that clicking in the woods before. We'd never seen the creatures, but we had heard that clicking off in the distance before. So,
it almost seems like all these creatures are working together, or working with each other to get food and stuff. That's what it seems to me like.
That's a possibility. They're definitely. I've always said since I really got into this, all this stuff's connected in one way or the other, and I don't know how all of it attaches, but it's all connected. I think that goes as far as even aliens being connected to all this. I think it's all connected somehow. I don't really know exactly how, but it's a lot of strangeness out there. We're raised as kids. I mean, I was a boy I lived mainly with my grandparents growing when I was younger, and in a rural area of Cannon County, Tennessee. I mean, we have a house a mile and a half from us, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. And when I say gravel road, it was dirt and gravel, and you might not see but 3 or 4 cars a day come by there, and one of them was a milkman and a postman. So, it's rural out there. And when I think about all the stuff that I heard in those woods when I was a kid at night and in the daytime, and, my grandmother used to always come out and say, all right, you get in the house, it's almost dark, the boogeyman will get you. And, we're raised to believe that these creatures aren't real, that monsters aren't real. We're raised to believe that, the monsters are folktale and, just make believe. And when you find out they are real, then you start thinking, my gosh, just about all these things I've heard about when I was a kid from different people have turned out not to be myths or some make-believe story. Most of them are true.
Yeah. So right, that same way.
It's a little frightening, it's a little bit over the edge, over Santa Claus, not quite as bad, but we're all made to believe a lot of things and that too, and that was on a good note. But honesty was the thing that I was raised on. My granddad told me your word was all you had, and you better make it right and keep your word, and that's the way I was raised. But after all the stuff that I was told as a kid by my grandparents, I'm wondering about their word.
Well, they didn't lie to you. They just didn't tell you the whole truth.
Like my grandmother used to say, it's not a lie, it's just a fib. So
there you go.
I guess a fib's a smaller dose of a lie. So, but I turned out to be the boogeyman was actually Bigfoot. So I found out that from my granddad after I had my first sighting. He told me the wood booger was the boogeyman.
Let's see. We got here. Have you heard about an open gate from the center of the earth? That's a new one on me.
I can't say that I have heard about that particular item. I've heard about a lot of openings in the center of the earth, and I've heard so many stories about the Solomon Islands and so many stories about Antarctica. I'd say probably that really those two places probably piqued my interest more than any, because I've been doing a lot of studying about Antarctica in the last 3 or 4 years, and every government agency, every country. Now this is countries that are completely against us or not our allies. All protect the Antarctica area and would not let you go into certain areas of Antarctica.
Right.
Now, that's a little strange, if you want my opinion. They're hiding something there. So, and the people, if you go back to the Admiral Byrd guy, that goes back, many, many years ago. I think it was the early 1930s when they found him deceased. He told stories of things he'd seen there that would absolutely blow your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And it's documented. And Ethan Oates, the guy that's came to me and asked me to do this documentary back months ago, and asked me if I would, and I said, yeah, if I can take my team, because I don't go without them. And he's been to the Solomon Islands, and he said that it was the most incredible thing he's ever seen. He said he actually seen these giants. The tribe took him there. They overlooked a cliff and watched these creatures. He said some of them were 25 foot tall.
Oh, wow. I'd love to see that.
Well, that's going to be one of our expeditions coming up if this first one works out. I'll go there too, because I would like to see it myself. So, but these
Are you looking to adopt?
Do what now?
Are you looking to adopt? Because I'll be more than happy to be adopted so I can go with you.
Hey, we might be able to adopt a few people. I'm all in for it. But, the way he talks, this tribe, serves one of their own people to these creatures ever so often as a sacrifice. So, it sounds like something you hear from a King Kong movie or something. But, it's there's been a lot of documentation on the Antarctica and the Solomon Islands of credible people seeing these creatures, and Antarctica seeing things and not being able to see things they want to see. There's a complete whirl underneath the ice. I mean, I've heard all kinds of stories. I don't know what's true, but it's very strange why every country in the world will not allow anybody to go in a certain area of Antarctica.
Well, I found the article. I got to finish reading it. It was the last surviving member of Admiral Byrd's expedition.
Yeah.
I got to read it. I hadn't got to read it yet, but I got it put up so I can.
Yeah, you need to read it. I read quite a bit about Admiral Byrd and his team, and I was really impressed. This guy was a super credible, intelligent man that had no idea what he was going to run into in Antarctica. He didn't go there looking for anything like what he found, but it's pretty amazing if you take his word credible, and I don't know why he would have a reason. I don't know why he would have a reason not to be credible. We're talking about something that happened in the 1930s, and he lost his life there. So, I believe there's a lot of stuff that we'll never know about. If you get into something that's really crazy, how do you even describe or explain Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, that's true.
There's some of the craziest stuff I've ever heard of there. I've got friends that's been there. I've been asked to go there. And,
I would do it in a heartbeat.
I've been asked to go there twice, and I do know a gentleman that went there, and he said he's seen a dogman-like creature, and it disappeared so fast. And if you've ever seen a Bigfoot in the woods running, I have. And they'll run on all fours, too. They don't run just on two legs. They normally run on all fours. It's like a blur. I mean, it's so fast, you can't even tell what it is. It's so fast.
Oh, I believe it.
And he said it was the same type situation with this dogman type creature when he hit the ground and took off running. He said you couldn't even tell where it went. It was so fast.
Well,
So
Bigelow has so much information he's not letting out. He's got this huge vault full of all his information that he ain't sharing with nobody.
I don't really understand that. Unless he's worried about the security of the area. But I think you're better off trying to relay what you've seen and maybe have not learned, but trying to figure out what it with, because 100 heads are better than one head. So somebody might have an idea or some type of reason being on something that someone else doesn't. So
yeah,
I don't think it's a good thing to try to withhold something you've seen like that, and especially in an area like that.
yeah. Well, I think the whole thing with Bigelow is
safety
he wants
first.
to keep his government contracts. Do what, Brian?
Safety first, and then nobody should be going out there by themselves. To me,
No, not at
yeah,
all.
it's the collective data mining. Of people who are thinking alike, getting all that data, and then letting
Exactly.
everybody know, hey, do not go to these areas by yourself.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to tell you what, there was a lot of years when I went into the woods bigfooting by myself, and I didn't go in there for a couple of hours. Sometimes I'd stay 2 or 3 nights by myself. I stayed as many as 3 or 4 nights by myself, and not with a tent, just a sleeping bag and some gear. And, I wouldn't suggest anybody to do that now. There's too many creatures in the woods that will harm you. And I know that for sure. I wouldn't suggest anybody, and I'm talking about Harley Owens, my buddy there, because he's such a young guy that's just full of spunk and energy that I wouldn't suggest anybody going into an area by themselves, especially without a personal locator beacon, because it doesn't take a whole lot to get harmed by one of these creatures, or even just fall and hurt yourself and you can't get out.
Yeah.
So I just didn't do it anymore. I did it, like I said, myself, and I was wrong for doing it, but I did it for quite a few years before I had a team that would go in with me. And I've had 3 or 4 teams over the years, and a couple of them have passed away, but they were good people, and they were very loyal. And anytime you have a crew in the woods with you, you got to be able to 100% count on them, because they got your back. So that's the most important thing about having a team. It helps to have somebody you've worked with for quite a while, because they know what you're thinking, you know what they're thinking. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes involved in that. So I know that I've researched from Martin Grove so much. Go ahead.
No, I'm under the impression too that the number of these cryptids, the population numbers, are just starting to explode now. Like George always says, there's people getting out in the woods more, of course, with technology and all of that. But I also believe the cryptid numbers are on the rise, and so at some point there's going to be a possible heavy collision of people and these cryptids.
Well, I'm a very spiritual person from some of my Native American background, but also from my religious beliefs and my faith in Jesus Christ. And I do believe that I don't know all scriptures; I can't quote them, and I'm no Bible scholar by any means. But the Bible speaks of these creatures, and it speaks of them coming out at one time or another, and you'll see more and more of them as that time becomes nearer. And I have no doubt in my mind, since I got started in this over 34, 35 years ago, there's a lot more creatures now than there were then. And I have no doubt about that, especially Bigfoot. So, and also, people say, well, that's because their homeland is being encroached on and they're torn down for homes and shopping centers. Well, that may be true, but at the same time, there's more people in the woods than there was then too, because people are out looking for them, and on top of the fact that the numbers are astounding. I remember, I don't know how many there were when I got started in this, but I I was at a conference that blew my mind. Ron Moorhead and I were at a conference in Florida, the Alcoa, Florida conference about 4 years ago, and a well-known scientist was on the stage, and he made a statement that he thought there might be 5,000 Bigfoot in the United States alone. I did start laughing. I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but I believe there might be 5,000 in Tennessee. But,
right.
I don't know where he come up with that figure at. I mean, apparently he ain't been out in the woods very much, but there's a lot more of these creatures than people understand, and their abilities they have is another reason. A lot of times they aren't seen as much. I've not seen one go interdimensional standing right in front of me. I haven't personally, but I have seen one go behind a big, massive tree in a field by itself, nothing else around it, and it never came out, and it had nowhere to go. So something happened to it. So I know they can do that. Ron Moorhead believes it. He's very sure that the higher vibration they have with their energy gives them a special way to transfer themselves into a different energy form, and I can believe that. So with the abilities these creatures have, when you can take a 4 or 5 inch round tree and just twist it like it's a glove, it's just absolutely mind boggling.
That's true.
How they have the strength to do that. The ones I was very close to, I've researched 2 or 3 different families of these creatures, and I don't know how many different types there are. I believe I've seen 4 or 5 different types, and the ones that I was on the river with for about nearly 5 years, from 99 to somewhere around 2004, that I was very close to, became really close friends with. Those were the kind, if I could find another group of those, another family of those, I wouldn't mind doing that again, because that was absolutely amazing, what I learned from them. And that
Oh, what happened?
I had somebody try to call in, and I kicked it off. But these creatures are the ones that make the X's in the woods, the large X's with trees, and they break them, or they'll take deadfalls, or even lay them on the trails with X's, and that's their marker. And that's the ones that I've been around a lot of different types, and that's the ones you want to be around, because they're the ones that are non-aggressive, as long as you're not trying to harm them. And takes a long time to build trust with them, but when you do, you can learn a lot from them. You can really learn a lot from them. They're amazing.
Of that group, Darrell, what were the physical attributes? Were they more human-like, or more animalistic features?
No, they looked that particular bunch. When I first had my first encounter in November of '92 while deer hunting, which completely changed my life, and on my grandfather's farm, I was just terrified. I didn't go in the woods for almost 7 years. So I was trying. Of course, there wasn't any Facebook groups. There wasn't any podcasts, radio shows. There weren't any. You couldn't talk to anybody about this stuff because there was nowhere to go. And then when you did mention it to somebody that you knew personally, a close friend, they would look at you like, what? They're like you were crazy or something. So, I tried to find an answer for what you were talking about, and I started going to libraries trying to find books on these creatures. And I finally found a book. I don't know how accurate this book was, but I remember the book very well. It had the top 10 Bigfoot. Now, there may be 25 different type of Bigfoot. I have no clue. This book said 10 different type of Bigfoot. The number 2 one was the wood booger. It was listed as the wood booger, and it was exactly what I'd seen, except the one I seen didn't have red eyes. It had dark brown eyes or black eyes. But everything else, features looked just like it. So, and I've seen what I believe a type 2, which is the wood booger, a type 3, a type 4, which is more similar to the Gimlin, Patterson, Patty type, and then a type 5, which is more like the more sloped head ones. So I think that I've seen 3 or 4 different styles. The ones on the river were more like the Patterson Gimlin type. Patty.
Gotcha.
They were the female was. I don't know if you know that story or not. It takes a long time to go into that story, but I wasn't hunting. I was in an area, a very remote area of that I had fished at. It's a private area on the Cumberland River. It's behind. You go down a road where an old filter or sewer or water treatment plant is, and you go by it. And it's a large fenced-in area back there. It was then, and you had to have permission to go in there. And a friend of mine's uncle or cousin or somebody he knew worked there, and we've been fishing there for years. You never see anybody back there because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody would go back there, and we only went back there because it was a real good place on the river you could get to by walking through the woods behind it, and about 200 yards, and you get to a creek that fed off into the Cumberland River, and a sandbar on it, and the fishing was really good there, and that's how I run into these creatures. I was back there by myself. It was February of '99 or early March, and something kept. The first time I went back there to fish by myself, parked my vehicle, walked down about a 200-yard game trail back there to that spot, and something stole my minnow bucket. Couldn't figure out what happened to it. Next week I went back, something stole my minnow bucket again. I couldn't figure out what happened to it. Long story short, I tied a rope on the handle of my minnow bucket the third time I went and tied it to the tree. That way, I thought it was some kid or some human that had been living in those woods or something back in there, and turned out to be a Bigfoot. And I don't call those Bigfoot. I call those forest people. I think there is a difference, but. It was a female. After I seen her, I was scared to death. I mean, she looked over at me and had her hand on a tree and looked at me. And she was about 5 foot tall. She was a young female. And when I seen her, I got my stuff and got out of there. I don't want to be around these creatures again. I'd already run into one before, and it ate at me all that week, and I just couldn't help myself. I had to go back, and I did. I went back the next week, and I made a relationship. I started going in there, and I'd never heard of gifting at that time. I started gifting them, and them gifting me, and I started visiting them either every day or every other day. I was there, and that was a regular pattern. I was there anywhere from an hour to 2 or 3 hours, to sometimes the whole afternoon. I even camped out there at night quite a few times. And became very close to this family. There was an entire family that lived in a huge kudzu patch. If you know what kudzu is, it looks like big vine-like stuff. It's real thick. It grows on railroad tracks, river banks. I've seen it a little bit everywhere, but real thick, and they lived in that, and it was so thick you couldn't walk through it. You had to crawl through it. And anyway, and she had another one right behind her that when he started coming out with her, he was about the same size. He was a male. And then the one that frequented that I learned to know very well too was one that watched over them, that came out and stood behind them in this kudzu and watched me and watched them to make sure I wasn't there to harm them. And he was about 7 foot tall. He was a male. And I became very good friends with those three, especially the female. She and I just hit it off for some reason, and had a lot of amazing things happen to me with those creatures. And I became very close to her and them. They learned to trust me. I trust them. These creatures have an amazing ability. They can understand and feel your intentions. I don't know how they do that, but several times I was about to do something, they'd already beat me to what I was trying to do. And,
wow.
They just have a amazing ability to feel the person you are. I don't think anybody that wants to have a relationship with these creatures that doesn't have good intentions toward them with a good heart will ever have a family of these creatures that will tolerate them, because I think they have an ability to pick up on that. They do have their own language. All kinds of jabber. I hear them jabbering in the brush, or I never seen the entire family. I would see parts of them in the brush, and part of a head, and then a whole head. And I guess there was about 12 in that family. The ones I seen complete all together creatures were the three I mentioned over that period of time that became very trustworthy with me. And I learned their favorite food was cantaloupe. Number one favorite food. They don't want it cut up. They want the whole melon. They don't want it thrown on the ground. They want it put on a little wood board or a plate. They love cooked bacon. Who don't? And their other favorite food was jelly filled donuts. So I took about every food you could think of there and found out what they did and didn't like. And it's pretty amazing all the things I learned from those creatures. I found out how intelligent they were, and after about 3 years or so, me and the female she was probably around 6 foot tall, a little taller than that then, and her name was Aleatha. And one day I was sliding a donut over on a plate next to the kudzu. They would come out and grab it and put it in and sit and look at me. And I said, "My name is Darrell. Please tell me your name." And I said, "Tell me your name." And all of a sudden, I hear Aleatha.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm like, "What?
Awesome.
What?" I was just in massive, complete shock. I did not see her say it. My head was down. I was sliding it over when I hear that. And I looked at her and I said, "Your name is Aleatha?" So I learned they know English. They know American Native language, at least parts of it, because I know quite a bit of words in Lakota Sioux. My grandmother taught me that language. And they also have their own language, which can be a gibberish type sound to almost like a Japanese type sound. And then a lot of fierce words, like you could hear them in the kudzu, the other members of the family, kind of like one of the bigger ones getting on one of the little ones. And it was very, very awesome because these creatures aren't apes. Anybody thinks they're apes? They're not apes. These are human hybrids, and they are most definitely more intelligent than some humans I've met. So I brought them all kinds of gifts over the years. My number one gift that I ever brought them that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen is I brought them a bag of. I went to a little dime store and birthday prizes for birthday parties. I found a little bag of plastic whistles, red and white, had a little black string on them, and you give out to a birthday party. There was 8 or 10 of them in there. And I went in one day before I left. I hung all those whistles on tree branches, and I said, "I'm leaving. I'll see you guys tomorrow or the next day. If I'm not busy, I'll be back tomorrow. If not, it'll be the next day," because I was trying to work at the same time I was doing this. And that's another thing. I would say, "Bye. I'll see you later," and I would hear bye, 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 bye. All different. They were bye. And, it was pretty remarkable. And when I got on over to walking down the trail, leaving, I could still hear them. Bye. And,
That's
I got
funny.
to my truck and I left, and it wasn't the next day. I think it was the day after, and I stayed about 3 hours up there. Anytime I would come in, go through the gate where my vehicle's parked and shut the gate back, start walking this game trail, and I'm headed back to where they're at. And I would always start announcing myself. "Hey, I'm here to see y'all. How are y'all doing today? I'm here to see you today." Then all of a sudden, I hear whistles blowing everywhere. I hear a whistle across the river, a whistle straight back in the back, a whistle to the left. I'm going, "What in the world?" And I get off that against a tree that I left there all the time. I sat on it against the tree and leaned against the tree on my back, and all the whistles stopped. And I said, you people are very amazing. You know how to use the whistle." And they were so intelligent. I mean, nobody taught them how to blow a whistle. So
That's true.
I learned so much from them, and it was a very astonishing moment. I would always talk to, I called her Lady A, Aleatha, and I would be drawing in the dirt, and I was trying to get them to explain me what this could be and what that could be. And one day I was leaning down, and I was probably about 10 foot from her, and then her younger, what I figured was her brother, by the sticks that she did in the dirt. I believe he was her brother. And the one behind her was her uncle who watched over him, the bigger one. And I was drawing one day and trying to tell them they had left me 3 catfish. I just got there, and there was 3 catfish next to my bucket jumping around. That was my gift. And I had a gift for them, and I was talking to them, and I was opening up the box of donuts to slide them some donuts on a plate over there, and all of a sudden, I feel her finger touch mine.
Oh, wow.
It was the most astonishing thing that I've ever done in my life. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she stuck her hand out again. She was stretched way out, and I stretched way out, and we touched fingers.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It was absolutely 100% amazing. I could absolutely feel my heart skip a beat. It was so incredible. And then she reached over and grabbed the toe of my tennis shoe. Grabbed the toe of it, the rubber part, and squeezed and let go. And that was a monumental moment for me because and the bigger one that I found out, his name was Tobias. He was the one that watched over those 2. He just looked at me and grinned. So I only heard 2 English words besides bye. That the whole time I was with him, and those were 2 of those names. His name being Tobias and her name being Aleatha. And nothing else I ever heard in English. And I believe they have the ability to know everything we say, everything we're talking about, and they just don't let us know. And I felt like I'd gained enough trust from them that they would have talked to me more than they did. And I tried very hard. And I did ask them where they come from many times. Where did you come from? Where does your ancestors say you come from? I say, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Where did you come from? Did you come from another galaxy? She said yes, shook her head yes.
Oh, wow.
Tobias in the back went.
Oh, man.
And so after all this, and I never heard of any of this from anybody. Like I said, there wasn't any Facebook groups back in 1999 up until 2004, and you couldn't talk to anybody about this. I was learning and keeping all this. I had my partner named Darrell Yarbrough that would go with me, and he knew I was seeing these creatures, but it just never registered to him somehow. I mean, he believed me. He says, Big. Everybody called me Big D because I'm 6'5", and I played a lot of ball, and I've been called Big D all my life. And Daddy said, Big D, these creatures, man, you got to be careful. These things might hurt you. I said, no, this family, they're not going to hurt me. I said, you want to go see them? He goes, do what? I said, you want to go in with me? I've known this guy all my life. Played ball with him all my life. He was one of my closest friends. And he said, I don't know. I said, you don't want to see them? I said, I don't know if they really want you to see them because I've never brought anybody in there. And a couple of days I went in before I asked them, can I bring my friend in? I was trying to explain to them what I was saying. I drew in the dirt and I was trying to talk to them. They understood what I was saying. I don't know what I was drawing the dirt for. They're way much more intelligent than we give them credit for. And, I brought Darry decided to go with me. So we pulled up at the gate there inside the fence and got out, and he's walking back. He's, just, okay, sure. He's thinking he's going back to see a monkey or something. He don't understand that these aren't a monkey. He's not taking it nearly as serious as I was and that I always had. And he gets back with me, and I sit down on my bucket, and he's sitting right behind me on the back side of the tree with his head kind of on my shoulder, looking around the tree because they hadn't come out yet. I sit down, and I'll sit down. Sometimes they hadn't come out. I start saying, "Hey, I'm here to see you," but they'd never seen him before. So I didn't know how they were really going to take the fact that I brought somebody else in there because they didn't know him. And it was just a few minutes, a little longer than normal, and I seen Aaliyah holding onto a tree, looking out to see him. She wasn't worried about me. She didn't know him. And I said, "He's fine. He won't harm you. He won't hurt you. He just wanted to meet you. He's my friend, my close friend. And he's just coming this time unless you want him to come another time." I look back at Darry, and when he's seen this creature, I look back to tell him something. He jumped up. He ran as fast as he could all the way back that trail. Went through the gate and got in my truck, locked the doors, and started blowing the horn. This is the guy that wasn't scared of anything, so I was pretty amazed. I was terrified. I was pretty amazed at how scared he was. And I got back to the truck. I didn't stay quite as long, and they were more nervous about him leaving because I didn't understand why he ran like that. So that was a little alarming, and I tried to stay a little bit and told him I had to go back to work, and I had to go and take my friend home, and he wouldn't be coming back anymore, and they seemed okay with that. And I got in the truck. He unlocked the truck, and I said, "Man, were you okay?" He goes, "Let's get out of here, man. I don't want to be around them things." "What the heck are those things?" I don't want to be around them. You wasn't kidding. Them I said, "Dude, you don't have to go back anymore. I mean, don't tell anybody." He said, "I would never tell anybody." He didn't, but I've never seen that guy so scared. He was.
Wow.
Hey, Derek, I got a question for you. The viewers that keep asking, do you ever go back there anymore?
Oh, my God. I'd give anything if I could go back there. In 2000, late 2004, for the first time ever, I was always there every day or every other day. I made it and I'm talking about no matter what the conditions were, I went because I told them I would, and I wanted them to trust me. And I never broke that trust, but there was a few times when I had to work and I couldn't make it. I might not get back for 3 or 4 days, but I'd always let them know, "Hey, I won't be back for 2 or 3 or 4 days. I've got really work and I can't get off. So don't think I don't care about you." And I would explain it to them. They seemed like they understood. They were okay with that. Well, I got real tied up, and I didn't get back there for roughly a week and a half to 2 weeks. And I went in there, drove down there, so excited. I had bought them donuts, all kinds of extra stuff. Couldn't wait to see them. I kind of like missed them. They were like my family to me. And I pulled in, I grabbed all my stuff, went through the gate, and I started yelling, "Hey!" Right as I went through the gate, I noticed the gate was off the hinges. And it didn't fit right. Somebody had took it off, and then I seen it. There was bulldozer marks. There was track marks. All the kudzu was in a big pile. The trees were cut down, and there were little stakes, like they were about to build something with little pink ribbons on them, little wooden stakes. And I started yelling for them. "Hey, where are you?" I walked back into there for miles. I never seen them again.
That's heartbreaking.
So,
Yeah.
I really think that, I even got a boat and went on the other side of the river where I'd heard some of them before, and never seen any over there. I went back for roughly 3 months, pretty regular, walking back in there further because that's a real remote area. You can walk probably 4 or 5 miles back. I don't know how far. You're back in there, and it's just brush and undergrowth on the side of that river. And I yelled for them, blew a whistle. I did everything to try to find them. I did find shell casings that really made me nervous. I found some shell casings not too far from that area. And I don't know if that particular water disposal or whatever that plant is there, they were building on or building something back there. and or somebody else was. I figured it was them because something had come through that gate, and you could see the track marks, like a track hoe or a backhoe or something, and piled all that stuff up and cleared it out. I had a feeling that maybe some type of contractors went in there to do this and seen these creatures and got frightened of them and probably called the authorities or the TW, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, or the police or somebody, and they probably came in there and either exterminated them or captured them and took them somewhere. I don't know which one. The shell casings made me very nervous. I did find quite a few of those. But that could have been them maybe trying to scare them. I don't know. But never seen them again. It's bothered me ever since then. That's a big reason I haven't ever tried to really get close to a family like that again. I don't think there is a family like that one. And the family that I did friend, Billy Howell and I in Cheatham County, Tennessee, they were, there was quite a few of them in that family, but they were not like this family. This family was really close to me. You can't duplicate what I went through there. So I really kind of lost interest in ever doing that again due to the fact of what could happen. And I still today wonder about those creatures. And quite a few of the people I've talked to and spiritual people that I know said if they were still here, they would find me. So unfortunately, maybe they're not here. But I hope they are.
That could be a good thing that they're not, though. I mean, they was in a bad situation, so maybe it's a good thing they did get out of there.
Well, I hope they got out of there. If they got away, I'm fine. I just hope they weren't killed. So, you know, I don't have a problem with that. It's just that I've met some pretty some people that were very instrumental with these creatures, and they told me that you have a bond with those creatures for life, and I do believe that. And they would reach out and find me if they were here. And I don't know of any, that's never happened. And that's been a lot of years ago now. So I would love to see them again. I'd love to go back there tomorrow morning. So, and I've been in that area 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years trying to see if I could see them again. I think about them, but I've never seen any trace of them. So I really don't know what happened to them.
And that's just heartbreaking. That really is. I hate to hear that.
Yeah, it's pretty, it is heartbreaking. You know, it's, especially with creatures like those. Those were not, they weren't out to harm anybody. They were never aggressive with me. They just wanted to raise their family and be respected, and they did the same with you as long as you showed them that respect. So they weren't out to harm anybody. So that's the bad part about that. You know, there's a good and bad in everything. There's as many bad people as there are good people. So, you know, I'm sure there's some bad Bigfoot. I've run into a few, but these creatures had no reason to anything to happen to them.
That is an interesting story. That's the closest I've heard of anybody getting to a Bigfoot, where they're able to actually the Bigfoot to reach out and actually touch you and you touch them. That's pretty amazing.
You know, the family that we had in Tennessee and in the other part of Tennessee, really it wasn't real far from that area in Cheatham County in 2017 through 2020, I guess it was. We had a family that we became pretty close to. Billy Howell and I, Charlie Raymond of Kentucky Bigfoot. Charlie come down and stayed with us and camped quite a bit. And these creatures, some of them were friendly. The female and the baby were very friendly. I mean, they didn't come out and touch me like that one did, but they got close. From the other side of a tree, you could see them both. And, you know, Billy seen the male, and it from the bottom of the ground to the top of the air conditioner by the deck. I never seen the male. He did, and it was 12 foot tall. So I've never, me personally, I've never seen one over 8.5 foot, maybe 8 foot 2 inches or so. But I know that I seen the juvenile that we were sitting in Billy's truck one night there, and he fell asleep on his passenger side. He'd been working all day, and I was sitting there looking at my phone, and I looked up, and this thing, he was running right down the road, the gravel road, right to our truck, and it was a young juvenile male, and he looked right in the window at me and looked around and just took off right back towards where he came. So, but as far as touching any of them, I've never touched one again. So that was the only one I've ever touched. So probably
that's pretty amazing that you even got that before. I mean, that's something that don't happen.
You know, it was a pretty special bond. It's hard to explain the bond I had with those creatures. It was I was part of their family, and they were part of mine. So that was the kind of trust we had, and
that's cool.
It was very obvious, and that's why I tell people all the time: these creatures aren't an ape. They're not some dumb ape out in the woods. These creatures have human abilities, and a lot more than a lot of people that I've known in the past. So it's amazing, really, of how intelligent they are.
I think what sent it over the edge was the jelly donuts.
They love jelly donuts. Their favorite is cherry or strawberry. They will eat blueberry, but they like cherry or strawberry the best. And I found out a lot of foods they did like. You know, they will not eat a banana. That was one of the first ones I brought in there. So,
that's funny.
They love cantaloupe. You take them a whole loaf of bread. You don't take one piece of bread. You take the whole loaf. You leave the tie on it. Not a little wood box that I put up in a tree right above where I set on my bucket. It was a fork like that, and I put the box there and nailed it in. And it had a little ledge around it where stuff wouldn't fall out of it. Put the whole loaf of bread in there, and they would take the loaf of bread out. They would eat all the bread. They'd bring the wrapper back with a tie on it and put it back in the box.
At least they don't pollute.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure you refill that bag.
That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. That's all I got to say.
I took a lot of stuff to them. They really are. They really were. It's just a lifetime of memories with those creatures. It was amazing.
I think they got to be kin to Tim, because you give Tim cookies, he does the same thing.
Well, Tim, I wouldn't take that as a bad.
I'll follow you.
Probably as a friendly one. These creatures.
You give me cookies, I'll follow you.
Well, I'd probably say out of all those foods, there's quite a few of them I like. I don't think I've ever turned down any cooked bacon, and I never get tired of cantaloupe. That's one of my favorites. So
that I agree with.
I'm not much of a sweet person. I don't hardly eat any sweets, but they sure enjoy the jelly-filled donuts.
Well, Darrell, I can honestly say, if you ever need anybody and you're around North Carolina, Tennessee, you'll always be welcome in this team. As far as we're concerned, you're a member of our team. As far as we're concerned,
I can tell you what, man, and I'm not just saying this. I feel very honored that you said that, and I'm always honored to be on anybody's show, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here and just tell what I've experienced. And I'm no expert on anything except saying my prayers, but I can only tell you what I've encountered and experienced myself. So I feel the same way about you guys. You get down our way when we're out, y'all welcome to come in and join us. Bring everybody but Harley. Don't bring Harley. So
we can't take Harley nowhere. I don't know why.
I'm going to tell you what. Let me tell you this about Harley Owens. He hung out with him and Daniel Hamilton of Cryptid Podcast. They hung out with me and my Rosie, and Harley and Daniel did the whole time we were at the Tennessee Wildman Conference this year. We did everything together, all of us did. And I had an absolute blast with Harley Owens, him and Daniel Hamilton. Harley's a good guy, and I think the world of him. He's like a brother to me. So he's welcomed anywhere, anytime with me.
I love you, Darrell.
I love you too, brother.
He's a good kid. I gotta give him credit. He was with me when I seen my first one, so I can't give him too much trouble.
I tell you what, if can you imagine being the age he is and already seeing and been involved in what he's been involved in?
No.
I mean, at 20, I don't know, were you 21? But being that age and being what he's already been involved in and saying,
I'll be 26 in March.
Okay, 26. You're still a baby to me, but time you get my age, you'll be way ahead of where I ever was. So, it's good to see young guys, good, straight up, honest, fun guys to be around like Harley, get into this and take it seriously and try to do it the right way.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. We have a question here from Mike. He says, do you think they have a little rule? Wait a minute. Do you think they have like a rule saying that they can't share their knowledge with us until they teach us their language?
That is a very good question, Mike. I'll be honest with you. That has not in that order, but that has crossed my mind many a time, even when I was in there with those creatures. And I kind of asked them some of those type things, not a word for word what you had, but I do think they did. I think that the big elder that was over the family made decisions on what happened and what didn't happen, and what he said is the way it went. And that's why he had Tobias watching even as long as I've been going in there, and they trusted me. But he still had Tobias watching those two younger ones when I was there. There was never a time when he wasn't with them. He was in charge of watching over them. So I think they have a very strict rule and guideline they live by, and they probably have to, because they're in a world where people can come in and destroy their property, kill them, shoot at them, do whatever they want. And, it's pretty amazing that these creatures would tolerate any human, I'm sure, of what they've been through in their family's lifetime.
Oh, I agree 100%. I really, truly do. Rob, you got something you want to ask?
Well, I was just wondering what they look like. I mean, as far as the color of their hair and their build and the whole 9 yards.
The female, the one that I named Eliatha, all three of them were solid black, no other color on them, black, complete black. You could definitely tell she was a female. She had breast. The male had genital. You can see that. They were solid black around their face, was more like black leather. From their forehead down was more like black leather. There's more of a human head up here, and then the hair started and was all over their body. Below their chin down was covered. The female was covered on her breast with hair. Their hands looked just like ours, except they had hair on top of them. They had fingernails like us, toenails like us. Very human-like in a lot of ways, but of course in a dark color. They were very dark black.
Oh, that's cool. That's why mine was. The first one I seen was black.
Yeah.
Now the little one was like a brownish color, like a reddish brown.
I've never seen anything but black ones and black and gray ones. I had a couple that were black and gray, but just happens to be the ones I seen were all that color. I've got friends that's seen them kind of an orange color. Several of them that have seen them that color, kind of an orange, a brownish orange color. But I have never seen anything but a black one.
Okay. Hey, Tim, you got a question for him?
I was thinking what he was just talking about. Where he went back to look for him and stuff, and it sort of stuck out in my mind where I went back over into that area this year deer hunting, where I hadn't been in there in a few years. And then every time I'd go in, they'd come in behind me and start breaking sticks and stuff, letting me know they was there. And I was wondering if that was the same thing that what he had happened, where he hadn't been in a while, and then he come back and they met him and all of that stuff. And I was just, for some reason, it just jumped in my brain. That's exactly what those did over there. They could just come in around me and let me know they was there. And the first time I went in, they didn't, but every time after that, they did. And I think they was just letting me, they was finding out that it was me. And then once they knew it was me, that they was making themselves known again.
I can understand that. If their area had been destroyed and there was quite a few trees in there that had been cut down and they were in a pile and they were smoking where they started to burn them, and all the kudzu had been mashed up into a big pile too, and the area that they lived in was no longer there. And that's not saying that they couldn't have went back in there like you're saying. And I completely spent a lot of time going down there, and for a long time. I went down there after it first happened. I was down there every other day.
Oh, wow.
And I was back in there, and I got a boat. Well, I had a boat. I went to the other side of the river where I'd heard them blow whistles before, and walked all around that area yelling. Believe me, these creatures knew my voice. They knew me. Mm-hmm. I think they have the ability to know your smell. They also have the ability that their eyes are probably 20 times stronger than us. They can see us. They know when you get out of the vehicle. And before you get into the woods, they have their abilities are so much more special than what we even understand. And I have no doubt, as close as I was to these creatures, they would have definitely reached out to me when I was back in there. They never had a problem with me, and I wish that was the case, that I could go down there. And I went down there for a long time. Even 6-7 years later, I was still going down there on occasion.
Yeah.
I had a dream one time that they were in a certain area, and I went there, and they weren't there. But I don't know what happened to them. I'm hoping they were captured and turned loose somewhere else. That's always been my hope. But realistically, in my heart, I think they were probably exterminated.
Oh, that sucks. That really does. Hey, Jerry, you got something you'd like to ask Darrell?
Brother, I don't have one thing I want to ask Darrell. I got about 2 pages worth. So I tell you what, Brother Darrell, I'm going to just pick one of them. Aside from getting to have a visual sighting of a dog man, what kind of other evidence from vocalizations and on do you look for when you're trying to figure out if dog men are in the area?
Well, we have certain areas, Martin Groves and I do, that we've researched for a long time by a lot of work and time being in those areas. We have an area called Area 13, two areas called Area 23, an area called 214. Those are probably 4 of our best areas, and these are in the land between the lakes. One of them is on the outside of the land between the lakes. It's not actually inside the park. As far as the evidence of looking for, the only thing that you're really going to find from a dog man that I've learned from them is going to be the tracks, and they do make 2 different type tracks. All dog men are not the same either. Some of them will make a longer foot-like track where the hock is on the ground, and it'll show like a longer, narrow foot with 5 claws at the end of the toes. And then some of them will have more like a round paw, like a wolf, but it'll be a lot bigger paw track. I think we found some paw tracks in the LBL that were about 8 inches across and I think about 10 inches deep, and they were round like a big wolf type track, and a lot bigger than any wolf that could be possible to be there. So we believe those to be, and I do have pictures of those, and I found some dogman hair, what we believe was possibly a dogman part of a dogman carcass about 6 years ago. We did some DNA stuff on that and never could get a real answer from where we sent it to, so that didn't work out very well. Biggest way to know a dogman's in the area is you're going to find a lot of claw marks on trees. I mean, it's going to be eat up with it. Like the area I found up here in Jersey over next to the cemetery. It looks like have you seen like a lot of times one of these road workers will take some type of machinery and cut the limbs off on a bank?
Oh yeah.
It's not that bad, but it's close. And it will be torn up like that in the area that they've marked. And you can find tracks on the ground. They've marked that area. Now, that's what I've experienced on the dogman that we've been in. Martin Groves and myself and Barton Unley were in a spot, area 23, in 2022, I think it was, in the LBL. And that was one of the most frightening nights I've had. And I didn't get frightened until toward the end there because it got real serious. We had a whole pack of dogmen surrounding us. And actually, we were in it was in March of that year. And the water, they have winter poo and summer poo at the LBL. They had dropped the water in these back areas. And we could hear these creatures howling coming across the low areas, splashing through the water. We could hear them on the hillside. And these weren't, I can't even explain the howls that we were hearing. And Martin had already been zapped earlier that night. I had driven him to the restroom a ways down because he thought he was going to throw up again. He got zapped pretty hard. And that went on till about 2 o'clock in the morning. It got real serious. We could hear them howling all around us. They were getting closer and closer. Martin had his SUV pulled way up into the woods, and he had his seat down on the driver's side because he was so sick. He was trying to recover from that, and we got these dogmen, and Barton Unley and I are sitting there together, and I said, man, they're coming in. Are you ready to? Of course, Barton with that big old sword he always carried, and he's got that thing in his hand, and hopefully he's got a sidearm, and I'm sitting there ready for him to come in, too. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to fight them the best we can. We're sitting next to a fire, and they're getting closer and closer, and all of a sudden my phone rings. I have no service in the LBL. Absolutely zero service. I can't get service there. My phone rings. I'm sitting there. I answer it. I thought, how is this phone ringing? And it's Beth Collinsworth. Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on.
Okay.
Sir.
It said I was trying to lose connection. But anyway, it was Beth Collinsworth, a very close friend of mine who has dogmen and Bigfoot all over her property in Wilson County, Tennessee. And she's very intuitive, the best intuitive person I've ever known, next to Robin Haynes. And she said, where are you at? And I said, Beth, is that you? She said, yes. I said, where do you think I'm at? She goes, you're at the LBL, aren't you? And I said, yeah. I said, how did you call me? Because nobody's ever been able to call me on my phone. Nobody's phone works there. You don't have any signal. And she goes, I'm going to tell you right now, you got dogmen surrounding you. This is out of nowhere. Calls me on my phone. You got dogmen all around you, and you've got a feral human with them.
Oh.
And I said, what? What are you talking about? I said, I know we got dogmen. We've been hearing them come in. We're nervous. And she goes, well, y'all need to get out of there now. And she hung up. Of course, I took my phone and laid it down, and Barton said, I'm ready because they're coming in. I said, well, I'm not ready, but I guess I'll have to be. About that time, Martin, sick, gets up, walks right past us, walks into the woods by himself. I'm hollering at him, Bubba, don't go in there by yourself. He just keeps walking, walks right into the woods by himself, where all this howling's coming from. He starts chanting this scripture that I can't tell you exactly what it was. I can only hear parts of it, but it's very loud. And he's chanting it, and he says it for maybe a good minute, a complete scripture or something. And then he turns right around, walks right by us, goes and sits back down in his truck and lays down. And I'm talking about, we didn't hear another howl. We didn't hear anything. You could drop a pin the rest of the night.
Golly, Bub.
It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Wow. Martin's pretty incredible.
I thought we were fixing to get eat up by a pack of dogmen.
Martin's pretty incredible. After meeting him and talking to him for a while, man, he blew my mind. Anyway, between you, him, and Ron, you guys are definitely the top run of the researchers. That's for sure.
Well, I just blessed to be with those two guys. They're my two best friends, and I'm just super blessed to have them. And they're a book of knowledge, both of them. But it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I went over and said, Bubba, what did you say? And he had told me later on what he said, and it was absolutely amazing. I have a real good ability with Bigfoot myself. I can go into any area, and for some reason, somehow, I can feel them. I know when they're there, and I don't know how I have that ability, but I can ride down the road. If I pass an area that I feel a Bigfoot in, I'll tell Rosie, hey, there's some right in here. And I know it sounds hard to believe, but it's true. And I'll go into an area and he'll say, where are they? And I said, they're up on the hill to the left. I feel them. And about that time, acorns and little sticks and rocks will start hitting us. So he has the same ability with Dogman.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
I don't know how he has it. I don't know how I have it, but we do. And Ron just has an intuitive ability. I've never seen anybody as calm as he is. It can be a pack of raging dogmen, and he don't even sweat.
Well, we have one question from Bruce. He wants to know. He said he's had all his dogman experiences around caves and bluffs. Have you experienced this too?
The one in Tazewell County, Virginia, that I seen in 2021, that was the first one I'd ever seen. The whole creature. Now, I'd seen dogman in thickets, parts of them, part of their head or their body or something, but not, I'm talking about a whole creature I could completely identify as a dogman or whatever. And that one, I wasn't very smart, but the farmer had told me that on his property, he said, be real careful, because he had two children. He was worried to death because he didn't know what had killed his goats. It was his great aunt's farm. He lived on it with her, him and his wife, and his two little boy and his little girl. And this creature had come down and killed every one of the goats, eventually killed them all. And I never seen the body of the goats. I don't know how bad they were torn up, and that's a different story here. But I do think it makes a difference on these creatures. That particular creature, after I waited on it, went out there, and it was about a 2.5 hour drive to that area. And he told me to come out there and try to help him and find out what it was. And when I seen the tracks at the barn, I knew what it was. Right off the bat, I didn't want to scare him to death, but I knew exactly what it was. And when I seen that creature and when it stepped across that fence, the next day, that was almost dark when that happened. So I went on home where I was staying at that time. Next day, I came back with, of course, I always carried a long gun with me and a pistol when I was in that area. And I carried my gear and my camera, and I went through that field, crossed that fence. I was going looking for where this creature went, and by myself, and walked down there a pretty good ways, and there was a huge bluff. And right around the edge of the bluff to the left side was a couple boulders laying against the bluff. And this creature had dug out down in there and was going up around inside those boulders or somewhere around that bluff. You could see the tracks where it had been going in there. And there were bones outside of it that there on the ground that looked like deer bones. And I walked around that bluff, had my gun and camera, and went around the other end of it. And hung around long enough. I didn't see anything, but I could tell that they were going in there. I don't know if there was more than one, but there was at least looked to me like a pack of them probably living up in there. But
yeah,
being by myself, I didn't care to stay there to find out. So I went on out, and funny thing was, when I was coming out, I had my truck parked up on that hill where I'd parked before, and I was coming down, and you have to go across a creek, drive across this creek to get up to the property. You make a left and go to the farmhouse, make a right, and you go up on the little hill where I parked, overlooking the field where the goats were. And I was coming out, crossing the creek, and there was a truck coming across, and he blocked me. So I backed up, and it was Virginia Game and Fish. And he said, what are you doing up here? And I said, I'm just up here doing a little scouting and looking around. Scouting for what? What are you looking for? I said, just different creatures, just looking around a little bit. And didn't want to tell him a lie, but I didn't want to tell him what I was doing. And he said, you got a hunter's permission slip with you? And I said, no, I don't. And I said, but I had permission. The gentleman who lives here, he told me to come up here, and he had a little problem with something trying to get his goats, and I was trying to see what it was. That's what I told him. Didn't tell him I knew it was a dog man, but that's what I told him. And he said, well, let's go up to the house and make sure, because he wanted to make sure I wasn't lying to him. So I went up to the house. They came to the door and said, yeah, I gave him permission. I didn't give him a letter, but he's welcome to be here as much as he can. So got back in the truck with him, drove back down to my truck, and he goes, let me tell you something, son. He goes, you know what's here. I know what's here. He said, there's a whole lot of farmers around here that's got goats and livestock being killed. Best thing for you to do is get in your truck and head on out of here and don't come back. And that's what I did. So they know about these creatures, and I'm sure this goes on all over rural America, and we don't hear about it. But
but don't just make you mad.
It does make you mad because, you know, they don't want the media out there or anybody to hear anything about this. But, you know, when a child goes missing or something happens to a family in the woods, you know, I blame it a little bit on those people.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I agree with you.
You know, it's only been, 3 or 4 years ago when that young boy was a dog man, drug him out of the backyard while his grandfather was watching, drug him up the side of a cliff over in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, you know, these stories sound like something make-believe, but they're not. They're real.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, Boom Boom, you got something you'd like to ask on your way to work?
Oh, I just love hearing Darrell's stories, you know. It's amazing to me. I'm very interested in what he finds out next about the different types of creatures that, you know, we mainly focus on Sasquatch and Dogman, but I'm looking for maybe a third alpha type predator that might be out there. So I'm anxious to hear what he has to say in the future.
Me too.
Is that Brian Sawyer?
It is Brian Boom Boom Sawyer.
I think the world of that dude. He's a good guy. How you doing, Brian? How's everything going in Minnesota?
Oh, doing good. I'm actually in Michigan, but that's okay if you didn't remember.
Oh, sorry, brother. Sorry about that.
We actually, a partner of mine just got some footprints, some Sasquatch footprints from a clan that's just down the street from me. So we definitely confirmed that.
He's driving to work, so he's off and on.
Well, I don't know if you can hear me, but at least I didn't accuse you of being in Ohio State area. So, that'd be worse than a dog man.
Yeah. Hey, Harley, you got anything you'd like to say, brother? I think Harley's froze.
I would just like to get Darrell's opinion. Am I froze?
Yeah, go ahead. I hear you.
Well, I think
We
I
can
am
hear
froze.
you,
I
but
can't
you're
tell.
froze.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I hear you.
Okay, all right, that's good enough. You can see my face at least. That's all that matters. But Darrell, if you could give any advice to anybody out there that's listening, George, I'm gonna smack you through the screen. I know that was you. But anyways, if you get any advice to anybody out there that's wanting to get into this, just what kind of safety precautions would you take?
Well, 100%. I know I'm a lot smarter now than I was when I was younger. First of all, you don't ever, ever, ever go in the woods by yourself. Not in an area that you're going to research in. I mean, you always let somebody know where you're going, where you're going, and when you're going to be back. You always carry a personal locator beacon with you because a cell phone doesn't work in most areas I go into. You carry some type of protection, and you know what I mean by that. Always be prepared with water, matches, thermal blanket that you can roll up in a little pouch about the size of your hand, backpack, some type small backpack or fanny pack with some type of snacks and food in it. And whatever you do, if some creature doesn't want you there, kindly leave. That's my ability. And remember one thing, you don't ever find them, they find you.
That's exactly right. You're very truthful on that. And I love your advice. We said pretty much the same thing ever since we started doing this, hoping people listen. But yeah, some people like Harley they don't really want to listen. Sometimes
I told Harley my story back in August when he was with me at the Tennessee Wildman Conference, but I got lost in the Blue Ridge Mountains for 3 nights and 4 days, and that was in 2021. And I can tell you one thing: that was probably as little as I was more uncertain about everything that I've ever been in my life lost in there. So I heard stuff in the woods at night that I have no idea what it was. I didn't think anything like made these sounds even existed. But that's a very remote area. Thank God I found a creek, and my granddad told me to always find a waterway and follow it. It'll take you to civilization, and it did. But it took me quite many days to get there. I'm lucky I didn't get eaten alive by a bear or some kind of other creature that was in the woods at night out there. But always be prepared with those items I told you to take. You're not smart if you don't carry them.
I agree with you 100% on that. I really, truly do. Well, fellas, it looks like we rolled up on about an hour and 45 minutes.
We've enjoyed every minute of it, too.
It has gone by quick. Darrell's an incredible storyteller. He's a good guy. I thank the world, Darrell. Darrell, like I said, you can always count on our team. If you ever need any of us, you just let us know, brother.
Man, I tell you what, like I said, I'm just honored to be with you guys and to know all of you, So it's sure look forward to seeing y'all sometime in the future. And I appreciate you having me on your show.
Well, Darrell, is there how can people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
You can, most everybody reaches me through my group, Bigfoot Believers and Other Creatures. We're I think either the second or first largest private group on Facebook with about Bigfoot or cryptids. And we're a good group. We don't put up with anybody criticizing or bad mouthing. So if you're one of those type people, don't even join. So, we don't put up with that. We were very respectful to everybody, and that's the way it is. And of course, Ron Moorhead and I have our new podcast that we're on every other Monday night. We'll be on this coming Monday night. It's at 11 Central time. It's Two Real Cryptids is the name of our show, and Michelle DeRochers is our moderator and manager. And she kind of narrates us through the show. She's a very close friend of Ron and ours. And we'd sure like to have you like and subscribe and watch us on that. And besides that, I hope to see some of you at conferences this year and other places that I'll be traveling around. And I appreciate you watching me and following me and like and subscribe to these guys' shows here.
We appreciate that. Well, Rob, I'm going to turn it over to you, Rob.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Darrell.
Oh, thank y'all a
Lord
bunch.
have mercy. George, you mean to tell me that you're going to turn me loose, and you knowing good and well that in about 35 minutes I got to go back to the nervous hospital?
Well, I like to let you go every now and then. It's just fun to watch.
Well, shucks. Darrell, we sure do appreciate you coming in here, buddy. We've missed you. You're one of our favorite people in the whole wide world. We think of you just like we would if you was a blood brother of ours.
Hey,
And
likewise here. And, I can tell you this much, my two best friends, Ron Moorhead and Martin Groves, are the same. We love everybody, and we always got time for anybody. We ain't never got our britches too big for anybody, and we appreciate people reaching out to us, and we appreciate your friendship.
you're welcome any given time that you want to. If you've got something other hot on your mind that you want to talk about, or you run into something other that you just want to tell everybody, and you get a hold of us, we'll put you on here no matter what. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I really do. That means a lot. You guys, y'all have pretty good following yourself. I know a lot of guys that follow you, a lot of people that follow you, and you're doing a good job on what you're doing. Just keep us squatched, and always remember one thing when you're in the woods that a lot of people forget. Do not forget to look up, because they do get in trees.
That's for sure.
Well, Mr. Survivor Man, where in the world, other than the nervous hospital 2 doors down from my room, can people find you?
Well, I am on Facebook, Jerry Millwood. I dropped the junior because there's apparently another junior, Jerry Millwood Jr., and I was getting all these weird friend requests from people. I said, I don't know nobody. Who are these people? So, Facebook, Jerry Millwood, and you'll see my Squatch profile picture. You'll know it's me. And you get me on my show on YouTube, Rebels Dark Tales of Appalachia, and on TikTok at J.R.Millwood.
Boom, boom. If you're still in there somewhere, where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm still here. Check out our YouTube channel at Bigfoots of America. And if you need to contact me, hit me up at bigfootsofmichigan@gmail.com. Thanks, George.
And the one and only Studley Muffin up there in the right-hand A-man corner, sitting there right beside the Ray Stevens piano, getting ready to sing his favorite Santa Claus is watching you. Where can we find you at, Studley?
You can find me at Tim Deals 13 at any of them. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, X. It's always Tim Deals 13. Except Facebook, and Facebook is just regular Tim Deals with a picture of a Bigfoot track on it. And if you need to email me, it's still timdeals13 at Yahoo.
And when you're not on Amazon.com looking for George Lunsford's books, where in the world can we find George Lunsford other than he's in the same category as where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Well, I don't know about all that, but you can find me on all the social media, George Lunsford or author George Lunsford. Or you can go to my website that my beautiful wife made for me. It's authorgeorgelunsford.x10host.com.
And for those who wants to try to get a hold of your producer, this idiot of this show.
Wait, you forgot one.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I'm saving him. You got to save the Bloodhound for last.
That's true.
He's
I'm
the
sorry.
best.
My apologies.
Yeah, you got to save the Bloodhound for last.
Oh, the Bloodhound now.
Yeah, I changed your name while you were looking.
Hey, George, what is the last thing you do of the night before you go to bed? You let the dog out. So, he just
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah. But if anybody wants to find a host of the show, me, you can find me on Facebook. You can go to TikTok at NCI, North Carolina Investigates, or you can go to Instagram at nci.rob, and email is nci.rge@gmail.com. And down here on the ticker tape, you've got the first one that comes across, you've got George Lunsford's store. He's got anything and everything you want. The second one is my store, which is store number 2. I've got another store, forgot the doggone link to it, put in here. But anyways, if me and George don't have it, by gosh, you don't need it. That's just bottom line, cut and dried. We got some wonderful products on there. Everybody is more than welcome to go pick out what you want, order it. It'll be shipped to you. High quality stuff. I think you'll enjoy it. And as we let the dog out of the night, let's just hope there's not a tree that he's going to be a sniffing before too much longer. You've got the one, the only, the illustrious, notorious Harley, the bloodhound, or excuse me, let me retract that. You got Harley, the blue tick Owens.
Nice.
Yeah, there
Quiet.
we go. That's better. Blue tick sticks better than bloodhound, but
I'm getting
I got a
tongue-tied
little
over
bit
here.
of a delay going on my end. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Owens Outdoors, Smoky Mountain Cryptids, TikTok, Owens Outdoors, YouTube, Owens Outdoors. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to NCI, and we'll catch y'all Thursday.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to let, if I can get my mouse to work, we are going to let our brother Vincent take us out of here. Take her away, Vince.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years. And grizzled ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver. For no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, be good, behave, and be pretty. We'll catch you on Thursday. Bicycle.
Bicycle.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years. And grizzled ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver. For no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.